Hey guys, this is Maniac, and I'm today going to open up my new category, which I was recently talking about in one of my in my special video for New Year and Sylvester New Year. I was talking about opening up a new sequence for this channel, which solely is going to be busy with developing character deck profiles which are just made up, futuristic. If the characters, for example, survived, or if they maybe if they're not dead, if they continue to play dual monsters, then they might have another deck, and the creativity and the interpretation just is up to me in my channel, of course. And so as a result of that, I made up the first of these ones, which is significantly none other than Arkana. There we go. Well, like I already said, Arkana is my first victim, you might say, of developing a futuristic character deck profile of him. Here's the scenario. Arkana is back from the Shadow Realm, where he of course was brought into after losing against Yugi and Atom in the Battle City era, and he tried to find his wife, Catherine, of course, but didn't manage to find her in the first place. Then he continued to go back to his job being an illusionist, but he the money he earned for that job wasn't enough, so he thought he could also go to the branch and be a clown as well. And in the third segment, he also continued to be a duelist, which also earned him a little bit of money. So yeah, he tried to do 3 sequences in his life because he was so poor, as my creativity and interpretation. So this deck is solely based off, of course, 2 types in particular. First of all, his old magician archetype. He kept his dark magicians, of course. Yes, that's what he did. But also there comes with a development of his new life another archetype, which are the clowns. This is not a type attribute in the TCG or in the dual monster world, you might say, even. So I thought, it might be a possibility and topic which he could have turned his deck intention into. Well, and let's tap into it. Of course, we start right off with his Dark Magician 3 times. Let's wait a sec, I'm just putting on the lights, maybe it helps a little bit. There we go. So 3 Dark Magicians, of course, and the alternative artwork. 2 from the Speedwell Battle City set, and 1, of course, from the legendary Yugi Legendary Dex 1. He tried to make peace a little bit with his Dark Magician, which he of course before betrayed in a way. since he was saying that the Dark Magician is only his servant, but now he appreciates him more, and yeah, they get close friends again. I mean, like he and his card. Yeah, and so of course one of the baselines of this deck is and stays like this, namely right around this card right there, the Dark Magician. Yeah, so there we go. And then of course we have the Dark Magician of Chaos, which he was shown in his hand during his battle again in the Battle City arc against Yugi. And this remains also his strongest monster possibility. And so you can, as a result of that, of course, interpret that he had another foundation on which this character deck is based on, which are of course the spellcasters, but they are not that focused anymore, and the intention is growing more to the clowns and of course to the Dark Magician still as it was before. Then he has the I don't know how you call it in English. It's I think artist friend, Künstlerkumpel. I just have to watch it because on the artwork you see it. It looks very similar to Arkana, and it is also a spellcaster with 2500 attack and 2000 defense, and its effect is you can special summon this card from your hand by giving one artist friend monster as a tribute, except for a Pendle monster, and once per turn you can discard one card and then give one open card on the field, destroy one open card on the field. Yeah, like that. Like I said, I have just to watch how they are called in English because I'm not sure about that one. I might be very wrong with this because I just translated one by one, and that's very hard to do because it's very rare that you get the right choice with translating German one into one in English. So sorry. Ah, man. Very hard to find. But ain't that important, you know, as well as I do, which card is meant with this. Then, further on, you still got his Dark Red Enchanter, which is of course very sinister spellcaster like, and it's an effect monster. It requires one tribute, but has not good attack and defense stats. For example, it has 1700 attack, which if you have to offer one tribute for it is very, very few, but then still again he has 2200 defense, so it would make very much sense to if you tribute one monster, to put set this card instead of putting it into the attack position. Instead, maybe just with the exception that if you want to put his effect into play, which is if this card is normal sound, you can put 2 spell counters on it. Each time a spell card is activated, put 1 spell counter on this card, and it gains 300 attack for each spell counter on it. So if you put it on the normal summon, still it gains 600. So yeah, the sheer attack stats doesn't count alone. So you have to interpret it like that he got 2,300 with one tribute. So I have to correct myself and redeem it. And once per turn, you can remove 2 spell counters from this card to make your opponent discard 1 random card. So it's always also a very devious and cunning effect, which Arkana, from his personality and nature, he was a very devious, sinister character, after my opinion. Not only because of the mask that he wore, thus he worked for Marik Ishtar, of course, and also because of the reason that he had a very devious sides on himself. He was very greedy, very reckless, and all those things, and also tricky. Of course, he cut his cards on the surface, on the above side of the surface, so that he could easily shuffle the cards that way, that he exactly knew that he would draw one of his dark magicians at least, and put these combinations into play. So you couldn't trust him at all. So I think the Dark Enchanter is a very practical or logical practical also possibility to put into play. And then also I would say the Tricky, which of course is an significant card from Atom, the Pharaoh, which of course inherited Yugi's body, and at the last duel of them together, at the dawn of the duel, they facing each other, and he plays out the Tricky, which of course has 5 stars, but you can it has the effect if you discard 1 card, and you can just special summon it from your hand onto the field. So also very handy with 2,000 attack and 1,200 defense. And I also forgot to mention, of course, that the Dark Magician, of course, has 2,500 attack and 2,100 defense, and but requires 2 tributes. So it's not that much of an advantage, except for the cause that you have, for the case that you have spell and trap cards, which you can combine it with and put all the strategy and overall strategy with this Dark Magician into play. And of course, the Dark Magician of the Black Magician of Chaos has 2,800 attack and 2,600 defense, but it's a ritual monster, so you have to have also the ritual spell card, which I'm going to, of course, also represent to you guys. Later on. Like I said, he had that clown theme. Before he had this gesture subject also on his deck. So of course the Confid's gesture stays within his deck. It's a very weak monster. It has 0 attack and 0 defense. It's a dark attribute and 1 star. Yeah, it works like that and has a good effect. You can special summon from your hand in the open attack position, and if you do, you can discard and bring a discard and another open monster which your opponent controls currently. During the end phase of the next turn, back to the hand, and you can just control one of this gesture confit. Very handy as a defense posture possibility. If you, for example, your opponent has an card which just show you this card has a monster which is very strong in terms of attack stats, or has a very crafty effect. You can put it, but it has, for example, 2 tributes, and you can then put this effect into effect into plan, and then you can put it then back onto his hand, maybe in the combination with trap cards to protect this one, of course. Then you can draw back his aggressive attack strategy, and then maybe turn the tides and the tables into this game around. So, of course, the gesture confit, then the gesture lord, which I think also looks very like Arkana, or I would at least say similar. And it has also 0 attack and 0 defense, but it has a good effect, I think. It's a very good trump card. If it is a spellcaster, dark attribute, and has also 1 star, it works like that. If it is the only card, monster card on the field, it gains 1000 attack for each of your spell and trap cards. So if you have, for example, not many monsters left, and you, for example, had put this card into effect before, and then he or she hasn't any monster, then you can put this into effect, and you have good spell and trap card line up. Then this card can grow very powerful. I mean, if you have maybe 3 or 4, then it will be 3,000 or 4,000 points. Then you can put very good damage to your opponent's life points. Maybe. Then, of course, a very essential card to other deck before, which was the Legion of the Fiend gesture, which I put in there 2 times, and there we go. Which remains, of course, in this deck because of the combination with the clown theme, which is very similar to the gesture theme, gesture. Theme. And yeah, it has a good effect. At 4 stars, it is a dark attribute. As spellcaster, 1300 attack, 1500 defense. During your main phase, you can additionally to your normal summon or set, 1 other spellcaster type monster being tributed as a tribute summon, and bring it into the open attack position. Again, of course, this is once per turn option. If this card, the Legion of the Fiend gesture, is destroyed and put into the graveyard, then you can put 1 spellcaster type monster from your deck or your graveyard, put into your hand. Yeah, which also is a once per turn effect. So it has 2 effects, and comes in very handy, and it lines up to the very clown theme, which I will be coming up next. And let's begin with it. I put in there at first 3 times Peyton the Dark Clown. Peyton the Dark Clown is a significant Kaiba card. Sato Kaiba had possessed this one, I think, maybe in the Duelist Kingdom, but I'm not sure. It has 3 stars, is also a dark attribute, and is a spellcaster type monster, so it fits also into that effect of this one before. if this card is put onto the graveyard, you can banish this card from the graveyard, and then special summon one Pete the Dark Clown from your deck or hand onto the field, which of course is very practical, as you have 3 of them, and it's very unlikely and improbable that you might have all 3 of them in your hand. So you might have one maybe in the improbable that you have all of them in your graveyard. Maybe you have one in your hand, maybe one in your deck, so it might be possible that at least you special summon one of them. So it is a very good defensive possibility. Also 500 attack, 1200 defense. Not that strong of an possibility from the sheer stats, but still a good possibility to, if it's destroyed, put another one into the field and maybe then tribute it for another card. Then I have the Crass Clown, which works like that. It's 4 stars. It's also dark attribute, 1350 attack and 1400 defense. But it's a fiend type monster and has a good effect, which is the following. If this defense position card is changed to attack position, target one monster your opponent controls, return that target to the hand. So it's a very good option in order to, of course, also to put a strong attack position or even a strong defense position lineup from your opponent back into this hand. Then, Crass Clown, I didn't show you, there you go. Pete the Dark Clown looks like that, if I forgot about that. So Pete the Dark Clown, now I did talk about Crass Clown, and now we'll be talking about the Dream Clown. Dream Clown is an Earth attribute monster, has 3 stars, 1200 attack and 900 defense, but it's a warrior type monster and has a very cunning effect as well. If this attack position card is changed to defense position, so the opposite of this effect, then you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy that target. So it's even more devious than that one, because here you put it just back into the hand, but here you destroy it. This is if it's from the defense to change the attack position, the effect puts into play, and then that one if it's changed from attack to defense position. So yeah, the opposite, but also very convenient. Then I put in there a couple of normal monster clowns. The first is Mystic Clown. Mystic Clown has 1500 attack, 1000 defense, and has 4 stars. It's a dark attribute type monster, and it's a fiend type monster also, so it's not playing into that essentials of playing all the combination with spellcast type monsters, and looks like that. There you go. Okay, yeah, 1500 attack to 1000 defense, so it's not that bad of an attack stats monster with interpret. Then Sagi the Dark Clown, which many of you guys might know because it's a very significant Kyber deck from the first season, Duelist Kingdom. It's an normal monster, dark attribute, 3 stars and 600 attack and 1500 defense. So I would interpret this one better as a defense stalling position monster in comparison to the other ones. So we have Sagi there. Then I have in there Clown Zombie, 1350 attack but 0 defense, 2 stars, dark attribute, and a zombie type monster. So also again that spellcaster theme is not in here. That's why I reduced also the amount of spell and trap cards into that deck in comparison to the deck I had before, the original Battle City deck of Arkana. But still, it's not that bad and fits into the clown theme. Then I have also in there a OCG exclusive, which I think might be coming sometime, and also in the TCG, the Masked Clown. Dark attribute 2 stars, 500 attack, 700 defense. Yeah, and it's a normal monster. So if you want to start off a little bit easier, then another of those, put it in here. There you go. Another of those clown type monsters, which is proper to that fiend subject, but not the spellcaster one. It is a fiend type spellcaster. No, not spellcaster. Fiend type, dark attribute 2 stars and 800 attack and 500 defense. But the effect is, when this card is summoned, target one face-up monster on the field, change its battle position. So you might line it up with the Dream Clown and the Cross Clown. Cross Clown, of course, put the card back into the hand. And the Ryokushin Clown change the position of the monster, and the Dream Clown destroys the monster. So yeah, you might see these three as a combination. And last but not least, to the clown theme, I have Manic Crawler, which also looks like a clown if you would ask me. It's a zombie type monster, has 2 stars, and it's a dark monster. And it works with synchro type monsters. Oh, I don't know what they're called. But still, the effect is, the name of this card is going to turn into the plague spreading zombie, and as long as it is on the field or in the graveyard, it is named after plague spreader zombie. And if this card is in the graveyard, you can put one monster with 6 stars or higher that you control, and decrease its level with 2 stars. And if you do, you can special summon this card, and additionally the player which summoned this card possesses no monsters which were special summoned, except for zombie type monsters, as long as this card is open and onto the field. And it's also in one per turn effect. Then we're finished with the clowns. If you count, I think if you count the Manic Crawler into it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, Pete and the Dark Clown I had 3 times in there, so there are, if you, like I said, count the Manic Crawler also as a clown, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different clown cards into that deck. And if you also count the gestures also in here, it is 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So then there's the next engine. Of course, it remains 2 times the Mystic Tomato, which of course dark type monster, 4 stars, plant, dark attribute plant type monster, and its effect, if it's destroyed and put into the graveyard, you can bring one dark type monster into the onto the field with 1500 attack or fewer as a special summon from your deck and the open attack position. You have many dark attribute monsters in this deck, so it's very handy still to this day. There we go. Now back to the spellcasters. I have the illusionary gentleman, which of course works very appropriate into that Arkana character, because Arkana himself looks like an illusionist still. And yeah, you might, if you compare those two, it's very similar from the dress code. The illusionary gentleman is also a dark attribute monster, 4 stars, 1500 attack and 1600 defense. So for example, with Mystic Tomato, if Mystic Tomato is destroyed on the condition, then you can special summon this one from the deck. Then, yeah, as I already said, illusionist, I won't say spellcaster. I have still the doll theme also in here somewhere, which I thought, as Arkana is a little bit of a puppet master, I have still the doll of demise in here, which is a fiend type monster as well. So you might interpret also that he turned a little bit more sinister than even before, then, because most of his monsters are not spellcaster type monsters, but are fiend type monsters. It has 4 stars. It's a dark type monster as well, but has 1600 defense and 1600 attack and 1700 defense. And on the condition that this card is put to the graveyard due to a permanent spell card, you can special summon this card from the graveyard until your next standby phase. So yeah, of course the combination with none other than, and we're coming now to the spell cards, Ectoplasmer, my first spell card, which of course has the effect, if you tribute one monster during the end phase, the turn player has to offer a tribute one monster, and if he does, your opponent loses the amount of life points equal to the half of the normal ATK of the offered tributed monster. So of course it works good with the Doll of the Demise, because of course the Doll of the Demise comes always back again. Yeah, so that's the first spell card. Then I put in there Return to the Doomed, which I think, if you just think it over, it is very logical, as Arkana himself returned from the Doomed, and there we go. And the Ectoplasma also. As Arkana returned from the Shadow Realm, so you might think that might be very logical in that sense. It works like that: if you discard one monster card from your hand to the graveyard, return one of your monsters that is sent to your graveyard during this turn as a result of battle to your hand at the end of this turn. For example, if he loses his Dark Magician or another card, then he can bring it back onto the end phase. Then I put in there Megamorph. I almost said Metalmorph, but it's Megamorph, which of course doubles the attack stats from the monster with it, which is it is equipped with. So a very good effect in order to maybe turn the tides. If your opponent has a strong monster and you have a weak one, and you maybe can destroy them, the monster, as the attack stats are doubled, of course. Then I put in there, and as I have many clowns which are weak with 2 or 1 stars or 3 stars, I have put in there the Virus Post. There you go. Which works like that: if you have a once per turn, if you have an open monster with 4 stars or fewer, which you control, you can attack your opponent directly, and then you have to put it then to the graveyard at the end phase. So it's effect, which we might say, for example, sorry, I thought maybe the Return of the Doomed would work with that, but it's not as a result of battle. But yeah, you can then put them into the graveyard, but they made at least good damage if, for example, your opponent has a strong attack stats line up and onto the field. Then, of course, Card of Sanctity, which remains as a draw mechanics into that deck. Know how it works, of course you can. If you put all of your cards into a grave, banish them from the game, you can draw 2 cards. Then, of course, the spell ritual card of the Black Magician of Chaos, which is a Black Magician ritual, which works like that. You can have to discard monster cards up to the stars of Black Magician of Chaos, so that you can then ritual summon the Black Magician of Chaos. Then I still put, as we have a couple of spellcasters still in this deck, I put there the Secret Village of the Spellcasters. It's a field spell card, which works like that. If you have a monster of the type of spellcaster and you control it, and your opponent not, then your opponent cannot activate any spell cards at all. But if you don't have any of them, then you cannot control or play out any spell cards. But as you still have more than enough spellcasters into that deck, this card still deserves itself and is helping you in the game. Then I have Secrets of Dark Magic, which of course also is a very important main card from Yugi and Atom, and it works like that. If you it's a quick spell card. Activate one of the following effects. Fusion summon one of your fusion monsters from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field, including Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl as fusion material. Ritual summon one ritual monster from your hand by retrieving monster from your hand or field, including Dark Magician Girl, with 2 total levels equal or exceed the level of a ritual monster. So it's good working with the Dark Magician and of course the Black Magician of Chaos. Then I have Attack with Dark Magic, which works like that. You if you possess the Dark Magician, you can destroy all spell and trap cards of your opponent, of course. As you have 3 Dark Magicians, it's very handy, and you can then remove the threat of the spell and trap cards of your opponent. Offerings to the Doomed, a good quick spell card if your opponent possesses a monster which is very either strong or good in terms of attack stats or good defensive measure. You can, and it's opened up, you can put it into the graveyard. Another possibility, of course, Fissure. Here, Offerings to the Doomed, I almost forgot. And the Dark Magician, attack of the Dark Magician. Fissure, for example, just destroys one of your opponent's monsters with the lowest attack. He had a similar card in the anime, so I thought it would be appropriate. 1000 Knives, which works like that. You can, if you possess the Dark Magician and control one Dark Magician open on your side of the field, then you can destroy one monster on the side of your opponent. Black Pendant, which of course is still cunning, it's an equipped spell card which increases the attack stats of the equipped monster, but if it's destroyed, then your opponent loses also 500 points, life points. Silent Doom. It's a good special summon from the graveyard measure, as you might need maybe a good, a very handy possibility to put one of your important monsters back into play. One pot of greed as a draw power engine speaks for itself. Then of course it remains in there the anti-magic arrows, which are still is a very practical tactics in order to get stuck the opponent's spell and trap cards for a whole turn, and it can't even be blocked from your opponent, so it's very strong possibility. A monster reborn, of course, also has a possibility to bring one of your monsters back from the graveyard. Then bait doll, and still as we have dolls in here, which has a possibility to destroy one spell, one trap card. You can open, if it's set down, the targeted card, then you can put it up. If it's a trap card and it can't be activated this way, then you can destroy it right away. If it's a spell card that you put face up, then it's returned to its original position, but you still can then tell which card your opponent, at least one of them, he has put then there face down. Then the tribute doll, of course, is a good possibility to special summon one level 7 monster from your hand that can be normal summon set for just one tribute. It cannot attack this turn in exchange. Mystical Box, which of course has the possibility to destroy one of your monsters, but then gain control of the opponent's monster instead. Now you can destroy your opponent's monster and then give your opponent one of your monsters. Dark Magic Curtain still remains, as it's very good effect. A trump card, I would even say. And if you pay half of your life points, you can special summon one Dark Magician from hand and from the deck as a special summon. Then the Summoner's Art, a spell card which you can add one level 5 higher or now one monster from your deck to your hand. Then I have back Book of the Tricks, which as last spell card, which works like that. You can put 3 cards and ban them from your deck, and then after the third standby phase, after the activation of this card, you can put all three of them into your hand. So it's might come in handy if you have then no cards or few cards, and then all of a sudden you get 3 good cards which you can put into play. Now this onto the spell cards. Now the trap cards, and ain't that much. As first one, the Magician Navigation, which works like that. Special summon one Dark Magician from your hand, then special summon one level 7 or lower Dark Spellcaster type monster from your deck. If you control Dark Magician, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one face-up spell trap your opponent controls, negates its effect until the end of this turn. Of course, works with Dark Magician. Then I have in there the Shadow Spell, which of course works like that you block a open monster from your opponent and decrease its attack stats with 700. The opponent monster cannot attack and change its position. Yeah, and if this card, the monster is destroyed, this card is also destroyed. Then Fiendish Chain, which I think works similar, but just with effect monsters that you choose. You can negate their effect of one of your open monsters onto the field, and it cannot attack also. Then, of course, Dark Renewal, a card which was introduced by solely by Arkana. You can special summon if your opponent possesses one monster which is normal or special summoned. You can put one monster from type Spellcaster which you control and his monster both to the graveyard. Then you can special summon one Spellcaster type monster from the Dark attribute from the deck or your graveyard. So it could also be others. It must not be urgently or necessarily be the Dark Magician. And then of course still Tragedy, the card which was very significant, and with this artwork especially. If you have one or two more monsters in attack position which your opponent controls, you can put it which are put into the defense position. Yeah, one or more monsters of your in an attack position which your opponent controls are put into the open defense position. You can destroy all of the monsters which are put into the defense position that your opponent controls. Then Eternal Soul, a very, very significant Dark Magician card, of course, which works like that. It's a permanent trap card. Every Dark Magician in your monster zone remains unaffected by any card effect of your opponent. If this open card is leaving the field and you destroy all monsters which you control, you can put the effects of Eternal Soul just once per turn into play. One of the following effects: you can special summon one Dark Magician from your hand or your graveyard, or you can put one attack with Dark Magic or 1000 Knives from your deck to your hand. So also it's a good combination with the supporting spell cards which work with the Dark Magician. And last but not least, I have the Pineapple Beast, which works like that. You can only activate this card when you normal summon monsters successfully. If there are no monsters on your opponent's side of the field than your side, destroy your opponent's monsters so that your opponent controls the same number of monsters as you. Your opponent selects which monsters are destroyed. This card is of course in exchange for the card which existed as an enemy exclusive with the library to make the balance. And you, if there is no balance because your opponent has more monsters than you, then you can outbalance the monster lineup of both sides, of course. Well, guys, this was it. A little bit more longer than I thought, but I'm very proud that I put this deck into play. Or that I just invented it the way I did it. Of course, there were similarities to the original Arkana deck, which I have, of course, to admit, but still, I thought someone like Arkana, which was very stubborn type character, would ain't change himself that much, so that you cannot recognize him anymore. So you have to have essential similarities onto his deck still as well. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit the like and the subscribe button, and stay tuned for more content. And yeah, see you then next time. Your Slifer Maniac. Bye.